this scene was very cringy. Just because you see this woman, all she wants is to find love. She wants to find that partner. You see how open she is about it. We know her past with David Beador, her ex, and she's talking to the guy, which is unfortunate because we as viewers, especially knowing what we know, we see there's a disconnect, you know?
Right.
Did you feel like that?
You know, it's interesting because now that we know what we know now, it's interesting because it's going to be interesting to see how things unfold even more now that we know that she's not even with John anymore. And, you know, everything kind of just has fallen apart in real time. It's interesting to kind of see the cracks in the foundation right now. So I will be interested to see how things continue to go because, you know, who knows what really ended up being the straw that broke the camel's back when it comes to this relationship.
Well, yeah, and even the awkward conversation of moving in together, which I understand they're adults, you have your own places, but like I feel like this conversation should not be so far out. You know what I mean? Maybe I guess maybe I don't know what it is, but like Jason and I moved in together after a month. We're here 10 years later, so I guess it depends on who you are, but I think that she should have listened to him in the moment where he's saying, "Listen, your schedule is so overwhelming. I think sometimes you need to be able to compartmentalize and still be able to have fun. That's why I fell in love with you, because we had fun together. Now it's just like all you do is worry. You're overwhelmed with your work. You're overwhelmed with your schedule. It's like it's almost like starting to register with him like, I got in bed with a celebrity."
100%. Like it's one of those things like as time goes on, it's definitely, you know, it's interesting to see how these relationships evolve because yeah, especially when you're first getting to know somebody, you're in that honeymoon phase, you really are enjoying getting to know each other. And I think John was also from another relationship. Yeah, because he had kids and stuff too. So I think the fact that they had been through marriages, they had been through relationships, I think they were really enjoying each other in the beginning. But, you know, unfortunately, and this happens with a lot of relationships, as time goes on, that honeymoon phase starts to go away a little bit and you don't really have that same fire that you've had for each other since the beginning. And I think the fact that they don't live together, I didn't know that. That was an interesting point that they brought up last night. Like they don't even live together. And I thought they did, at least in the pandemic, like raising the kids together and stuff, but maybe not. So I think last night kind of was a clear giveaway that like, ooh, I really don't think they're as meant to be as we thought they were.
Exactly. No, and again, now knowing what we know, I know people are saying, well, she was on a double date with John. She was seen on a double date with John and Tamra and Eddie. And she said, no, we just ran into each other. It's not the case. Who actually knows? She might be trying to protect her relationship as much as possible, especially from the preview of next week's episode, where she says, if this makes it to air, this will be the end of my relationship. I think that she's trying to decipher what she wants to protect and what she knows has to actually go on, let's call it the small screen. But from there, we end up going over to the nail salon with Tamra. Heather's around the corner. This is a shit-talking fest if I've ever seen one.
100%. They like wasted no time. Like the second that Heather you know put in what she wanted for her pedicure, they were like, now we're gonna start talking. Like let's get right into it. These women came in with a vengeance.
I mean, the second that literally Tamra and Emily sat down, it immediately started into the, oh, did you have a good time not going to on the girls trip? Oh, okay, listen, this is what happened. Heather's a bitch and she thinks she's better than everyone and her and Taylor got into a fight, so bring it up. Okay, bye.
Yes, exactly.
Right?
Like, I mean, call me crazy, but I feel like Emily was like, okay, I missed out on all the drama. Like I had to stay back because of a false, you know, positive test. Like I'm sure she was fuming that she missed out on so much on that trip. So she's like, all right, I got to get myself back out there here. Like, what did I miss? Here's my opinions on everything. Like, you know what I mean? It felt very like we got to get Emily kind of back into the fray here.
I see what Emily was doing, and I think that Emily took on this role to put herself back in the forefront and be a part of the mix, considering we're adding Tamra back in. We have Taylor Armstrong. We have this new girl, Jennifer Pedranti. She's not a part of the filming scene. She doesn't know what producers are seeing as far as like, is this a full-time housewife? Do we like her? Do we not like her? I think that there's a lot of questions going on in Emily's mind. So she's like, oh, then I need to step up and throw this out there. But I love Emily. I do feel like fans read it that way. And my thing, and I talked about Jason, about this to Jason this morning, was you see where Emily and Tamra are telling Heather that she comes off a little condescending. Like, you know, the way that you treat people, you're shoveling shit, and now all of a sudden you realize that there's a way that the other half lives. And she keeps saying condescending, condescending. But I almost kind of wonder, is it that Heather's being condescending, or is it almost just an element of jealousy because she's so unrelatable? Like, most people don't have a 20,000 square foot, $30 million mansion, you know? Like, most people don't get invited to, oh, let's just have a girls' lunch and it's to Nobu girls, stainless steel chopsticks. They all have your name engraved. So there's a little diamond on the end, 1 carat. That's it. But, you know.
Okay, so I have lots of opinions on this.
Okay.
So here's the thing. Y'all know that I do love Heather Dubrow, but I also do love these other women. Like, I'm not trying to, like, you know, say that I like one more than the other, and that's why I'm defending her against the other girls. Like, that's not what I wanted. Like, that's not the message I'm trying to send. I'm just observing this, like, as a fan, and I'm going to be straight up honest. I did not like the way these women treated Heather Dubrow last night. I was really not happy about it. And the main person I thought that treated Heather like kind of crazy and like kind of came out of left field was Emily. And it started at this, you know, nail up appointment or whatever. And I don't like how she just was kind of going after her, just saying like, you come across as condescending. And as Heather's trying to explain, like, I just sent 2 kids to college. Like, I kind of got a lot of things going on. And then Tamara and Heather or Tamara and Emily were like, that's condescending. How is that condescending? Like, the girl is literally just explaining what's going on in her life. She's got a lot going on. And maybe she kind of came into the trip just a little, you know, like a little, she had a lot going on. So her energy might have been off just a little bit. But overall, I don't think she was being condescending. I don't think she was acting any certain type of way all night. And I understand that Emily, I think, was going into this appointment right after Gina had confided in her about everything and how she was feeling. So I could see why maybe Emily was just really in her mind trying to stick up for Gina a lot. But here's my thing. Heather hasn't done anything to Emily at all. I think they kind of got along fine last season. So I don't understand why Emily's kind of going so hard on Heather. It felt very like just out of nowhere, if you ask me.
Right. And then you almost kind of get more of a reasoning or like kind of a peek, I guess, into Emily's head at the Nobu dinner when she starts breaking the fourth wall a little bit and saying, we've had multiple dinners where you shit talk the hell out of Tamra. And now you're friends with Tamra, and I think that this is bullshit. So now I'm starting to see, okay, you guys talked a lot of shit about this woman. Now, immediately Tamra comes back into the group. Tamra talked a lot of shit about Emily, okay? Now she came back into the group, and Heather is friends with Tamra. And Emily's looking at this like, this doesn't add up to me. This, to me, comes off very phony. But even going back before we get to the Nobu dinner, like seeing the disconnect here, it's coming off a little aggressive. And it's like, you're condescending. She's like, no, I am putting my kids through college. And I think what they're failing to realize here is like, yes, Tamra has gone through the same process. But I think when you're at different levels in your life, like the Dubrows, I think sending their kids to college is probably, even though they have all the help in the world, it's probably a different setup and system. Like, cue the private jet, cue the entire TJ Maxx, cue the entire, you know what I mean? Like, get the library. Let's get Congress in this bitch. Let's get everybody together because we are sending the Dubrow twins to college. Like, that's, you know what I mean? And I think that's what she's trying to say.
Right. At the end of the day, this is Heather's reality. I think we talked about it last week. She does not need to come up with any storylines. She does not have to force anything. This is the thing when it comes to Heather Dubrow. Heather Dubrow does not need this show. In my opinion, I think the show really, I mean, maybe needs her, could be a little bit of a stretch, but I think the show heavily benefits from having Heather Dubrow on the show because we're infatuated with her lifestyle. They wouldn't have been at that Nobu dinner that night if it wasn't for Heather Dubrow. I mean, the girl brings so much to the show, but at the same time, she doesn't need it. She left the show when she wanted to. When she expressed interest in coming back, they took her back right away. Like, she's one of those like housewives that the whole franchise really benefits from. Whereas I think some of these other women really, really cling on to the spot that they have and they really don't want to let it go. Whereas it doesn't really affect Heather. And I think that's where people really kind of get jarred by her a little bit is she gives main character energy. Like, I can't help it.